Okay, so I was talking about what was I talking about? Oh yeah, right. Ascension, work, self work. Okay, so we're gonna go back. Well, I'm just gonna run. Okay, brain. Now the brain has, I'll just say, two parts: unconscious, conscious. So there we are, the brain. And like I said, we have a way to deal with this stuff because what you're trying to do is you're trying to leave duality. And I keep telling you that when you use these words, you're staying in duality. Because you keep seeing this, not this. Most people are trying to run from this because you're unconscious, they don't understand this, and this is what I'm trying to drive home for a lot of you. Your unconscious is what's creating your duality. Your unconscious is what's decided that everything is separated. Your unconscious is what you've been taught, or your unconscious is what you've been teaching yourself. So, let's forget about this for a minute. Let's forget about that for a minute. And let's move into my next favorite word. I love my pens. There we go. My favorite word, yes. Ego. This word didn't exist before the late 1800s because this word was invented by is it Freud? I think that's backwards. I think it's this way. Oops. Something like that. No, whatever. Anyways, I can't remember how to spell such a simple name. I think it is E-U-D. Anyways, so there's Freud. Before Freud, this word didn't exist. Before Freud, mind was mind. More or less, it was one piece. So, what happened? Well, Freud basically realized that there was more than, there was more than meets the eye. Because Freud referred to terms as mask, to refer to ego. He referred to the id and the super id. But what's funny is that all of you New Age yahoos out there have only ever focused on this part. Because that, like, when you take apart the Bible, or Hinduism, or Judaism, or Islam. When you take apart religion, you're just doing this all over again. You're not talking about what is here or what is here. Nobody ever goes into that because nobody's researched beyond this point to get to these points. So what we have is a whole bunch of people grabbing at special words and having no bearing of what those words are. So I'm going to refer you back to our original drawing. So here's our original drawing. It's pretty, right? It's great. So on our pretty drawing, we have external we have internal. Okay? We have internal. So intuition, Kundalini, Chi, the clairs, so, you know, psychic. Okay, now under external, we have job, family, news, community, job, family, news, community, anger, jealousy, and of course, that lovely word that you guys all love to hang up on, ego. Okay? So, again, right now, I can point out that that is wrong because that is here. And you guys talk about ascending, you talk about going somewhere. Well, technically the only way to go is inward. You can't go outward because if you go outward, you continue to stay here. So, there is no ascension if ascension means uplifting, if it means to, you know, a better word is simply enlighten. But you guys don't like that word because you think that a lot of people have misused that word, blah, 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 blah. But now you've taken that word and made it this word. Okay? So you're still up here claiming this through this word, but you're still here. You're still an ego. You're still fighting against your own consciousness. So we have our internal and our external. Let's just erase everything again. Okay? So, if this is us, and we can't go anywhere because we're still, you know, we have the external, well, what was I going to say about this? Ego, external, internal. I just lost my thought. Anyways, right, so this right here, let's now say this is just mind. Okay? So if the point is to get here, and this is all that it is, how can you destroy that? You can't. This ego cannot be destroyed. Ego is you. So let me explain this in a simpler form. We'll just use red. Ego equals me equals Jason. Okay? Now, let's say early in my life, bitter, angry, selfish. Okay? Right? That's what we consider ego. So that's supposedly me in my early life. But here's the thing. Okay, so this is me. Then I start doing the work, right? I start asking myself, why do I behave poorly? Okay? Why do I behave poorly? Well, that still goes back to ego. Because somewhere in there, Jason filtered wrong. Okay, so I started thinking, okay, I started looking for answers, I started asking questions, I started doing things to change a negative into a positive. But I'm still Jason. Which means that this is still here. The difference is, now, less shadow, more light. Right? So that's the whole thing, is that we are now still residing, this person and this person are still this thing, but it's become one to the other. So the name takes on a different perspective, but the name is still tied to the entity. Now, in this life, most of us are not going to do what Jesus did and what Buddha did and whatever, where we absolve ourselves of ego. But we can get close to it. The thing is, we have to recognize, and I do insist on have to, we have to recognize that this will never change until we die and reincarnate. This is your birthday. This doesn't change. You don't change your birthday. So as long as you're believing that you're ascending, you remain in ego. As long as you decide that you want to be whole, happy, joyful, caring, conscious, whatever, then you're moving inward, and therefore away from shadow. Because once you hit this finite point of being within, then this becomes humanity. But so long as this is ignored for the betterment of this, you're staying in shadow. So if you have questions, if you have comments, please feel free to, hit me up, talk to me. I know some of you may not be super thrilled about this, but guess what? If you don't grow and you don't learn, then you don't grow and you don't learn. So here we go, and this is number 2. Actually, this is number 3, so I will be back later for another one. Alright, thanks for watching. Bye.